And to all our viewers and listeners to the Car Sim and Race Driver Show. It's with me, Hugh Hatrick, and my very special guest, the Key 25. Now, I've been trying to get the Key 25 for ages, but we've finally managed it, and today we've been able to record a show. So get ready for a fantastic and informative show about everything that is the Key 25. Welcome to the show, Kieran. It's lovely to have you on the show. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Nice to see you again.
Yeah. I've been watching your streams and giving you little chats here and there. No doubt very unhelpful advice of my tagline of drive fast, don't crash, which is rather obvious for what you do. But how did it all start? Because you're obviously one of the biggest guys on the gaming scene. You're regularly in the top 10 world times for Gran Turismo and the like. How did it all start, your gaming career?
Very, very young, to be honest. Mega Drive.
Oh, yes.
I think it was V Racing, Sega game. I think it was something like that. And then it moved on to probably PlayStation 1 with Gran Turismo 1, 2, 3. No, yeah, Gran Turismo 1 and 2, and Wipeout and Destruction Derby and all them, and Colin McRae Rally. And then moved on to PS2. And then I eventually got an Amiga. I don't know whether it was around the PS1 time, an Amiga 500 or 600, and I had Micro's Grand Prix, the first one, and then bought myself a PC with Micro's Grand Prix 2. So that was my first proper sim game, I'd say, Micro's Grand Prix 2.
Aye. But, so then it kind of went from there. I mean, because now, obviously you're huge on Gran Turismo. Did you do all the kind of Gran Turismo games, or is it kind of something?
In terms of YouTube, no. I only really started on Gran Turismo Sport. I was quite negative about Gran Turismo 5, if I'm honest. I didn't mind the game, but it kind of I felt a little bit let down by Gran Turismo 5, so I didn't bother with Gran Turismo 6. And I started on YouTube mainly through the F1 game. I started doing like league racing videos that I'd been in, little clips for like incidents and stuff like that. And then we moved on to Drive Club. And Drive Club was probably my first game that got me quite a lot of subscribers because I had good connections with the studio. Because one of my friends from school was the handling person there. He invited me to the studio at the launch of the game. I won a time trial competition there, got the game early. Right. And then I had quite good connections with Rushy. I don't know if you've heard of Rushy, the game director there. So they tended to retweet a lot of my stuff, and it helped my channel grow quite fast. It got me... over the once I hit 1,000 subscribers, then it seemed to just carry on from there, really.
Yeah, and because you're very much into every the FIA games, the Nations Cup, and you're a lot of other gamers, they mention you in their videos as well if they've been playing against you, because they say you're at the top of the league. So you must be. Is it something now that you do pretty much full time? Is it you've been able to?
It's what I do for a living, but it's not full time because obviously I've got the kids to take to school, pick up, make the dinner, get them ready for bed. And Mrs. works like pretty much 6 days a week. Sometimes she's on late, so it's kind of one of them where when I get free time, I'll do my videos in the day, and then I look after the kids, and then it's night time. I'll stream, and then the missus comes home, and I try and finish a bit early sometimes. So it's just trying to fit in as much as I can in the time that I've got. But it's going well at the moment, to be fair. It's increasing, and it's going the right way.
Yeah. And have you always found it's been racing games that have been the thing that you've enjoyed the most?
I mean, I play racing games the most, but I've always liked other games. I'm a gamer. Whether it was like The Last of Us, Call of Duty. I mean, I was addicted to Call of Duty and all them games when they were out. But I always play racing games with them as well. So. I've never been like just sim racing. I've always been multiple games. I still play them now. I still play Call of Duty now, in my free time. Sometimes I've streamed it as well. It doesn't get the viewers, but it doesn't matter. It's just for the fun.
Aye. Well, I always laugh because I used to play Grand Theft Auto. That was the one I used to like. I jokingly said to the guy at the hire car centre in Orlando when we went there, I says, "Have you driven in America before?" And I said, "Well, I've played Grand Theft Auto, so I should be all right." Right, told me, well, as long as you stop at the red lights, that's the kind of the main thing. But yeah, no, it is quite fun. I mean, you can get totally immersed in them, and I think we found that, especially with racing games. I was using the controller pad for many years, and about a year and a half ago, I decided, right, I wanted to try and get a bit better, and I felt just limited on the pad, so I got myself a playseat and the G29 wheel, and that was me. And I have to say, I've really enjoyed it, and I think I've gotten a bit better overall. But it just allows you to have a lot more fun with it.
And definitely. It's immersion, isn't it, as well, I think, with the wheel more so. I mean, some people think it's going to instantly make you insanely fast, but that's not necessarily true. It's a lot of it's immersion, I find. And that's how, I mean, the first time I got a wheel was on GT5 Prologue.
All right.
That was where I started with my wheel, because I was on the pad. I was always playing on the pad on GT5 Prologue, and then I got the wheel on GT5 Prologue midway, about 3-4 months after it was out. I think I got a G25, and then I upgraded to a G27 eventually, and then they weren't available on PS4, obviously, so I had to move over to the T500, and now this one, the TGT.
Yeah,
I've been on them for years now, so
that's it. Going back to the pad is really strange when you try and use that.
Definitely.
But and what do you find at the moment is your kind of most enjoyable races? Because you do an awful lot of different types, and is there a track combination, car combination that you like the most, or?
I tend to go for. I perform better in higher downforce combinations for like in Gran Turismo FIA. It's normally the Group 2, Group 1, or anything that's like a little bit more grip and a bit more that you can chuck around a bit more. In Group 3, I'm not bad. But road cars, it's probably the weakest part of my. But I don't really enjoy them as much. I feel like Gran Turismo, when they do the road races, I feel like the grip doesn't feel like it represents what the grip should be like. I feel like the tires should be a bit more grippy. Like I've driven reasonably good cars in real life, and even on basic tires, they've got grip. It's just one of them. I'm not that massive fan of the road car side.
Yeah, so it's like that thing you'll get on Gran Turismo. You're bound to get on the first air race. It'll be a Toyota GT86 all the time, and 18 laps. It's not much fun.
That's why I don't ever bother with the daily race A. Really, race B, but like this week Suzuka, I don't mind that. It's quite enjoyable. But in general, FIA is where I get the most enjoyment from the races, purely because of the competition. Daily races tend to fade off with the competition now. They're not that very rare you go on there, you see someone from an FIA race in daily races, just every now and then you see him. But that's it's mainly FIA, and then like iRacing as well. I still love iRacing. I really want to get back into that as well. Yeah, because the competition level on that it's like FIA all the time.
Yeah. How do you find with iRacing? Do you have to have quite a powerful PC to be able to kind of work that?
iRacing, no. The new Assetto Corsa that's out, my PC runs it. It runs it, but I did try streaming it, and it was causing like frame rate issues. So my PC now isn't probably. I think a lot of it is the new Assetto Corsa isn't optimized brilliant. So
yeah.
Possibly a lot of that is, but iRacing, no, it's fine. I can stream it and play it, and it runs perfectly fine. 100 frames per second, no issues.
Yeah, and is iRacing?
So my PC is quite old as well, so shouldn't have much problem with iRacing if you want to get on that.
I found out. I mean, my computer's not that old, but I found when I tried iRacing, I'm pretty sure it was iRacing. It wasn't Raceroom, and it could only muster a very small screen. Now I wondered. I did try and go into other bits whether or not I was on the right kind of screen size or not, if it had done something, but it would only kind of do a tiny screen.
I mean, it goes through an internet browser, iRacing, so possibly I've never had that, but
no, I thought there's no way I can see it because I'm already a wee bit away from the monitor, and if it was any smaller, I'd be like looking at a kind of like the old tiny things. It was absolutely so small, you never be able to see where you are. So I haven't gone back to that. I mainly do PlayStation. I have to say PS4 for things like Assetto Corsa and also F1 2018. I quite enjoyed that. And is that one that you said you had played some of the F1 games before, but were they the PS4 or other versions?
I played a lot of F1 2000. Like F1 2010 was probably my favorite F1 game, if I'm honest. I love that game. And then 11, I played loads of it because of league racing. But wasn't a massive fan of 11. Then 12, 13 were decent games. Then I felt like the series dropped off on 14, and then I think a lot of it for me was the hybrid. Once the hybrids came in, I felt like the game just didn't.
It died, didn't it?
Didn't feel the same for me.
Yeah, because that was the great thing about the old ones. The noise was phenomenal, and it really kind of made you kind of feel like you were part of it. You could turn up the volume and really kind of have a great time. Well, the new ones, even with the sounds enhanced and everything else, it's not quite the same. I mean, I suppose F1 2018, you've got other cars on it. You've got some of the classic cars that you can race around, like time trial and things, which are quite fun. But it's sometimes it does feel like you're on rails. It doesn't give an awful lot of feel. And when you come back to Gran Turismo, you see a massive difference, and all of a sudden it's a lot heavier. It's a lot kind of reacts a bit better, I think, overall.
I think the force feedback on the F1 game, it can be okay. I mean, it takes just a bit of messing around with, whereas in GT it's very simple. It's like iRacing. Force feedback on iRacing and Gran Turismo is so simple to get to how you want, and it takes no messing around. That's my big criticism with Project Cars is the first game I loved it, but the force feedback was pretty terrible. And the second one, again, it just takes a lot of messing around with the force feedback. Even though they got this new way of doing it, I could never really get into Project Cars 2. I played it a fair bit, but just couldn't really find that urge to go on it all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I've still got Project Cars 1, and I still play it every so often because I used to really like the time trial and that. Yeah, it was great fun, and I've got one of the fastest times, and I'm so amazed I've still got it. Because nobody's obviously tried it, not like yourself. Because I'm sure you'd rip me for sure on the track, but it's the one at Nice. It's like the 12-mile section. It's West Coast Reverse or something, or whatever one it is. It takes about 6 minutes. If I just under 6 minutes, and I've got a 5-minute 48, so, and I'm amazed nobody's ever gone back to beat it. But it was great fun. The first one was really really good fun to do, and the range of cars and tracks was brilliant. But when I
loved the first one because that got me into esports, really, the first one, because that's how I got put into an esports team, because we were always in I don't know if you remember them, the NVIDIA competitions, and they were every 3 weeks or something, there'd be a different time trial, and that's what got me into an esports team to start with, really.
Yeah. So here's the big question. What do you think has made you so fast on these games? Because obviously lots of people play it and are good at them, but you've been, you're always up there with very, very good times. What do you think's been, the key?
I mean, I've always motorsport since I was young, so I don't know if I mean, I'm not the fastest, obviously. There's a lot faster out there, but I think just I've always had a passion for motorsport. I've watched motorsport since I was probably 3 years old. I lived 10 minutes from Brands Hatch when I was young, and we used to go there every weekend with my dad and watch multiple different, even if it was a rallycross they used to have on there. Used to watch all kinds of motorsport there. So I don't know if it's just the thing that's engraved, and then you just, because you're watching that much, I really don't know if it's just, some people always say, I follow your lines, I brake at the same point, but I'm 2 seconds slower than you. But I think a lot of people don't realise that there's so much that goes into the braking, and it's not just a case of braking at the right point, it's how you brake into a corner, and how you turn into a corner, how you implement the throttle in the corner, and there's a lot to it. So it's quite complicated, to be fair, sim racing and motorsport, isn't it? I mean,
have you ever variety? Yeah, have you ever gone to kind of track days or kind of more, like ARDS type events? Or
all I've really done is go-karting. I've done a fair bit of go-karting, and only nothing really competitive. I've never been to a full track day. No, I'd love to, but no, too much money. I haven't got the money to do it. So
yeah, no, that's the thing. That's I think everyone drives in a unique way, as you were saying, and I think that's why. I mean, I try and kind of watch the replays of the fastest times to get an idea. But I find sometimes the best thing to do is to watch your videos, and people like Super GT as well, if they have a kind of track guide or something like that, because then you get an idea, right? What am I missing? And then also when watching the live streams is great, because then you get to see what you're doing as well, and also things like your brake balance, and that seems to be a huge difference on Gran Turismo, because you can't change an awful lot else other than really brake balance and things like that, which I think is quite good, because it does mean that it's a more even keel as to how everyone competes.
100%. That's why I think Gran Turismo's got it sorted. That's why I think it's so popular as well, because you don't have to worry about setups. You don't need to worry about going into these settings. You just jump on, and you do a few laps, and within the few laps, you're not far off your potential. You've got, as long as you know the track, you're not needing to worry about, have I got the right setup? Am I using the right downforce? Am I using the right gear ratios? It's just there.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it's so popular, because like games like Project Cars 2 and that, it can get complicated. Even iRacing, like, I've just been on it last night, but I've had to sign up for, not particularly great setup website, but it just gives you a base you have to pay for a monthly, and then you get a base to your setup, and then you can work from that. But it's the time you have to put into it then. So if I want to do iRacing properly, it would take me hours to get the car where I want it, and it's just too much time. GT Sport's just so much more fun just to jump on.
Yeah.
You get on, you know everyone's equal, you know no one's got a car advantage, or a setup's going to win them. It's their skill.
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of people like about Gran Turismo.
Yeah, because I was on F1 2018 on Saturday night, and I thought I'll just have a go at the time trial for Silverstone, and I did. I think it was a 1:27.595, something like that, and the quickest is a 1:25, so I'm 2.5 seconds off the pace. But that's with just me on a standard setup kind of thing, and sometimes I use other people's setups because it allows you to do so. But if you find that you go into a corner and they've got no downforce at all, you'll be straight off the track because you're not used to.
That's the thing, isn't it? Like, everyone likes a different car, the way a car handles. I remember going on, I think it was 2016 or 17 when they first implemented the time trial setup thing where you could download the setups on F1 games.
All right.
And I remember using someone's, I was like, you try the top time and it didn't suit you because it just didn't feel right. And you go to P4 or 5 and theirs was better for you. It's just it's about finding a setup that suits you, really. Definitely on every game, I think.
Yeah. How do you find, I mean, you've got, nearly about 20,000 subscribers, and obviously it's really grown a lot in the last wee while. How do you find your fan base? Because you get a lot of good chat in there, and some are for you, some are against you, the support.
Yeah, yes. So the majority are with me, obviously, but I think, because I'm quite like outspoken. If like someone does, I'll say it. I'm not going to just hold back. I'll like say it, and even if I'm in wrong, sometimes I'll defend myself, even though I know I'm wrong. But some people take it a little bit. But I think some people try and there's a few in the chat that'll always criticize, but it's trying to ignore them, and that's what you've got to try and do now. I do tend to react to them sometimes, but in general, the majority, like 99% of the people in the stream is amazing. The support's like perfect.
Yeah. No, it is quite good because, I mean, there was a thing just in your last video there where you had an incident with Calster. And I mean, it was clearly, I watched it just literally before coming on the show today. And it was clear that he just made a mistake and he just ran wide, and you'd been able to analyse that in the replay. I was thought, because he went off and he didn't touch. I mean, I think if he had touched you, you probably would have got a penalty, wasn't it? Because that's what we seem to be doing at the moment. People can hit you, and then you end up with a blooming penalty. But it's good that you're able to kind of show that, and then it also shows that you're being fair, because you can't be accused of something that you've not done. And sometimes people are quite quick to say, "Oh, that was your fault," or "You could do this." Or
it was that's why I did it, because in the live stream we had about a quarter of the chat saying that was my fault, and I thought I knew there was no contact. So that's why it was a bit of a clickbait title, but I knew there was no contact, and I knew. Like when I went into the replay, I was surprised how much space I'd left him.
Yeah.
And I was like shocked, because I thought he was next to me. I didn't realise how much space there was, but he just made a mistake all by himself. And I actually laughed when I was watching the replay. I kind of laughed at myself, because I was like, how can anyone even say that was my fault? But
because Gran Turismo does seem to have a few bugs here and there, doesn't it? I mean, there are issues of, like, you could be almost minding your own business, and then you find yourself, you hear something, and then no one's touched you, but you hear something behind, and then, of course, you end up with a 2 or 3 second penalty, which I don't know if lagging issues or some kind of...
Yeah, I think there's sometimes you get desync issues, and a lot of it is just a faulty penalty system. If it's one of my biggest complaints, like, I'll always mention it on my videos, because I'm hoping someone at qualifying might actually pick up on it and see what you're saying, because if you just ignore them, the problems, I think they'll never get sorted on the game. The issues are quite bad at the moment on the penalty system, because there's been a video recently highlighting, I don't know if you've seen it, like GT Alex, I think his name is. He literally they exploit the system and they show how people are doing it, and it's quite worrying that there's a competition involved, an FIA competition involved with, there might not be massive prizes, but they're trips to different countries, and
it's worth taking part.
and it can be exploited. So it's quite worrying that they need to sort it out, and hopefully they will do soon. I'm pretty sure they will do.
I mean, I suppose it's still fairly new in how it all works, because Gran Turismo's only been going for about 2 years in this kind of state, isn't it? Not too long at all. I did actually very much like your idea of a kind of 3-stroke system. I think that would be a very good idea, because sometimes if you just run wide and you lose time, you've not really gained, well, you've lost, and then they're already giving you a penalty on top of that.
Yeah.
But sorry, I'm pulling out. Wife doesn't know I'm on the podcast thing, so she'll know what to try again. But but yeah, so no, it's one of these things. But yeah, anything that they can improve in terms of the penalties would be a good thing, because it can be really annoying, especially if you're at the back of the field, you're trying to get back into it, and you made 4 or 5 good moves, whatever, and get past people, and then all of a sudden you find yourself with a penalty that you basically haven't done, or someone whams into you, and then you find yourself on the rough end of it.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that.
So where do you see things like Gran Turismo going? Do you think it will just get more and more tracks and kind of that kind of thing?
I think GT Sport's going to obviously. I already know of a few tracks that should be coming, and I already we know that it's going to keep getting tracks throughout the. I mean, as far as I've heard, they're going to keep doing it up until probably the release of the PS5 which is when I expect the new one to come at some point.
Yeah.
But I would expect them to continue, because I was in Lewis Bentley on Twitch. He does Twitch, and he was in stream, and he's been to a few live finals, and he was mentioning that they know of quite a few tracks that haven't been released yet. So there is definitely tracks there that they're holding back, possibly just to keep a steady flow of tracks coming to the game. So I would think the tracks will continue for the next 6 months at least. I think maybe longer. I mean, we know, I don't know if you've heard what's coming in the next update. We all know what's coming, but not that, I mean, we shouldn't really say, but it's kind of like we already, like, I mean, you might need your umbrella, let's just say.
All right. There's some breaking news there somewhere, isn't there?
Yeah, we all know that's coming in the update for
this month.
Well, it's going to be at the World Tour, whether it'll be in this update, because I think when they changed the time model once in a World Tour, it took 3 months before that actually came into the game. So it could be a few months down the line that we get it. No one actually knows an exact date of when we'll get it, but it's coming. So
yeah, that's going to be very exciting.
I think that's going to be one of the biggest things for the game, because I mean, one new track's great, but weather conditions on how many tracks? Like, I mean, I remember reading an article way back though saying that it won't be every track. It will only be tracks that would get weather in real life. So Willow Springs will never get rain.
Yeah,
they won't implement it there. But Suzuka, stuff like that, will have the conditions. So it's a whole new dynamic to the game, and I think it'll be quite nice to see if everyone's as fast, or if some people if there's some people that are better in that condition than other people. How they implement it? Will it be realistic? Will it be static? Will it be dynamic? Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah. I know that's the thing, because wet race is going to be quite exciting, especially when you get the spray and you can't see anything. If they can get that, if you're in the Super GT,
it's quite worrying as well, because obviously we use the bumper view, don't we? So visibility from the bumper view with the spray, I'm a bit. I don't know if that'll be quite bad. I'm sure they would have thought of this, but it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, especially at Fuji. I'm sure they'll do it at Fuji in the wet. That'll be kind of where Lewis Hamilton won way back. Was it in 2008? I think it was. And then you couldn't see anything at all, and it was just literally going on the engine sounds around him, and the kind of spatial awareness to be able to get around the corners. But I'm sure there'll be some interesting kind of videos on that one when you get them. I think there'll be lots going off at the first corner, and
a lot of penalties.
But no, it's something. I mean, I think it's amazing how the game is progressing and how esports are going forward. I was down at a company car event last week at Millbrook, and the Mercedes-Benz were there, and they had brought in, I think it was Race Room. They had hired a caravan, and they had the 2 Race Room simulators, and actually one I set the fastest time on it. They were using F1 2018. Which was great fun. So, and it was using a Fanatec wheel, but one of these direct drive wheels.
Right.
But it had huge amounts of feedback. You really had to kind of hold it steady because it was kind of shaking away the whole time, But it was great fun. I didn't do it. They didn't have DRS on it. It was because it was flashing up saying you could use DRS, but there was none of the buttons did anything. I was the only person to notice it that I couldn't use it. So it's because it's mainly company car drivers who were there. So, but no, it was good fun. So I won a trip to Mercedes-Benz World at some point at Brooklands to drive some cars there. So it was definitely worth doing. And last year I won it. Lexus were doing it, and they had a guy. It was Ben Smith. He runs an esports company at Silverstone, and they were using Gran Turismo setups, and he does like the World Endurance Championships for the esports for them. And I won a PS4, so it was actually, it kind of paid for itself, because obviously I paid a few £100 to get the wheel and the seat. And I thought, well, I won that. That's at least something. I can convince the wife it's still worth allowing me time to play the game. So it was something. But I think it's a lovely bit, because so many people want to have a go, and people are lining up to have a shot and to kind of get immersed in it and kind of just do it. I think that's a great thing with the racing cars and how they do the sim racing. It's kind of really going there. But up in here in Duns, in the Borders where I'm based, we're hoping to have a kind of esports race, because we have the Jim Clark Museum, and it's just about to reopen, and they're going to have a simulator in that, but we're hoping to have some esports chaps up, or I say girls as well, to be fair. There's a few out there who are interested in coming, so that might be one of the things that we can eventually launch, like a kind of Jim Clark esports Grand Prix series or something like that, where you have to drive the old Lotus cars and things like that, which I'm sure will be quite hairy to say the least, and then kind of do a challenge for that. I know that Super GT has said that he's quite interested in coming up as well, and Tidgeney as well. So I'm sure it's the kind of thing that would be open to your good self. Once we get it sorted out, I'll certainly be letting everyone know. It would be a chance for you guys to race in person. I know you do like things like, do you do Best of British? I think you do Best of British. Do you? Or
yeah, I do it when I can. I didn't do it last weekend because we did that really long stream on Saturday, so I had a night off on Sunday with the missus, because she let me carry on streaming till like it was near enough midnight. It was like an 8-hour stream, so I had to kind of keep her happy as well. Say I'll just not stream tomorrow.
No, that's the thing. I mean, how do you find it? Obviously, with your setup, you streamed for a long time. Is it quite, have you advanced with the technology that you used, or I know that people use Elgato systems, things like that, or you kind of?
I'm using the Elgato. Well, I use Elgato for recording, and Streamlabs for the Streamlabs OBS for the streaming, which you can record on as well. So I'm starting to experiment recording my streams, which you might have noticed in the latest videos. It's proper, rather than taking the footage from the replays from FIA, I'm actually trying to incorporate the real footage from the live stream, and I have to re-record the audio though, because on Streamlabs you can't separate the audio properly, so I have to then get rid of the audio, go back into the replay, re-record the audio. But it's so easy to match up, because you just match up the gear shift on the visual and then get rid of the visual. So it's pretty simple.
All right. Oh, that's quite good then. So it's a bit of expert editing there, and that. I mean, it sounds incredibly complicated with the main things, but is it quite? I mean, once you've got your kind of Elgato system and things like, is it quite straightforward to stream? Is it something that most people could do?
It is, to be honest. It's really easy, and I mean, I was scared of doing it because I'm not very technical minded, and I mean, I can pick things up once I know how to do it, but. I could have been streaming. Like, it frustrates me because I could have been streaming years ago. Like, I could have been doing all my YouTube like when I was really young, because I bought myself, I think it was when F1 2010 or 11 or something like that. I bought like a HD pocket. It was like a pocket one, like a pocket recording. It did 1080p, and I never used it. And I could have been pushing my channel from a lot younger. And it's kind of one thing I regret, because could have been doing this for a long time. Even recently, I've only started streaming, I think maybe it's not even been a year now. I don't think I've been streaming for a year. Yeah. So I had the ability with the PC to use Streamlabs, but I was always a bit like cautious of it. I didn't really understand it. So a Super GT helped me out a massive amount in terms of that. Over message on Twitter, he helped me out in telling me what to do, what settings, what stuff to do. So massive thank you to him as well, because to be brutally honest, really kind person. Not many would do that. Yeah, and he's pushed my channel. Like he's helped my channel grow massively over the last 6 months with links in his videos and stuff like that. Yeah. So big thank you to him.
I know he's a great guy. I've been fortunate to have been able to get a few interviews with him, and it all started from just watching again some of his videos and just asking the question, would you like to do a podcast? And he very kindly said yes, and it's kind of gone from there, you know. So but it is great fun because all of you have a kind of unique way of how you'd stream, and you know, I mean, he's got a kind of particular sense of humour, and you've got you've got your when you go at it, you have collisions and whatever, and it's great fun to watch everything because you know you're getting it's great for the viewers because they get this wonderful range of races to watch, and you learn so much. And I find if I've watched like one of your streams, especially at the beginning of the week when you're practicing the weekly races, it really helps me. When I might try on a Wednesday night or a Thursday night and have a go myself, do some time trial, and then try and do a few races. And you definitely learn, you know, how to do the corners better, how to, you know, what settings to use for brake balance, things like that. So it's you're informing the gaming nation by doing what you're doing as to, you know, it's helping people go forward and get faster. Because I think that's the great thing. You can set yourself goals, and in gaming like this, you can achieve them, and you can get quicker and better, which is really exciting, you know. So the next big question is, where do you see it going? Where do you think your own career would you like to? Do you have particular goals that you would like to fulfil by the next year or two?
I just want to keep on at YouTube and just keep growing and keeping improving, really. I mean, I know there's some things that I need to improve on, possibly my temperament sometimes when I'm streaming, because I do get wound up, but then that's me. It's because I'm quite passionate about the gaming, though, to be fair, and and the game. So when something happens, like you get a penalty that shouldn't be there, I normally do swear because it's just an instant reaction. But I think most people do that. I don't think
they would do. They would do.
Yeah. If you're not streaming, most people will be throwing stuff. So
exactly. But, well, you see, there was Vettel in Canada who got his penalty, and he was saying all sorts of things that couldn't be broadcast on all of that. So no, I think it's very natural that when you feel you've been wronged, especially on these games, and you're excited and you're kind of all that concentration and adrenaline, it has to go somewhere, doesn't it? So it's going to it's going to do it. But as long as you don't get demonetized, that's the main thing.
Yeah. Not yet, anyway.
That's good. That's good. So then, but no, well, it adds to the character of what your stream is, and many people really enjoy watching it. So I mean, as you've got over 20,000 now, do you think that'll just you're just trying to grow it as much?
I just want to keep improving, keep growing. I think PS5 will be the big starting point of real increase on my channel, because obviously when that comes out, if there's a new Gran Turismo that comes with it. Yeah, that could be perfect for me, because I didn't actually get GT Sport on release. I was like, I watched videos on it when they did. I remember they did like a World Tour event before the game came out, and I was watching it. I was just like, I don't think it looks very good, and I was like, I didn't really give it the time of day, and I picked it up. I think it was a Christmas after it came out, because it had been reduced to like £20. I thought I'll just get that. I'll just try it, and then I was like, why didn't I buy this at release? Because I mean, I missed out on that initial 3-4 months of when it will attract a lot of people onto your channel, but I think it's grown anyway, and I've managed to get some people in that are obviously interested in the game onto the channel, and I think PS5 will be where it really hopefully kicks my channel in. I think if there is a new game, that should really help out, and we might be able to push to try and I really want to try and see if I can get to like 35-40k by this time next year. Mm-hmm. I know it's a big, like, it's basically doubling your channel, but what you find on YouTube is once you hit a milestone, they just keep increasing. So hopefully it'll just keep the way it's going, and we might make it to 35,000-40,000 by the end of or towards this time next year.
Yeah, no, that would be something, because every time I interviewed Super GT, I would look at his numbers and see what it was. And by October last year, when I did my first one, I think he was on 140,000. And then by February, it was about 170. And then in April there, it was 200,000. So it does, I think, as you say, as bigger it grows, it just multiplies and more and more.
I think it's with the algorithms on YouTube as well. The bigger you go, the higher up you're placed, and then YouTube push it more because it makes them more money, probably. That's why. Yeah. So that'll be why they're doing it, I would think. But it is just a case of keep plugging away. It's like if you start, like, you hear a lot of people on like the chat saying, I need to do this YouTube, but it's hard work, because to get your first 1,000 subscribers takes probably the longest out of any like milestone, because it's the hardest part of getting creating the initial base, and then it'll feed off that.
Aye. No, that's the thing, because I know, because I've got about 8 subscribers on my YouTube channel, so it's kind of, I know, but I've been mainly doing podcasting, and only I done a few videos every so often, although I'm trying to do them now more weekly, and I've got a few more to come in the next couple of weeks, so it's kind of building up as much as I can. But it's great fun, and I think it's good fun being able to add to the content and kind of see what people think of it, whether they like it or whether they don't. No, well, look, it's been fantastic to have you on the show today. I very much appreciate you putting time aside to answer questions, and no doubt, hopefully we'll be able to do it again to get an update in the near future as to how you're getting on, and perhaps maybe you'll see if you look out for Crichton Starbug, that's my name on the PS4, one that you'll be lapping at some point, but if I ever get into one of your races. But look, it's been great to talk to you, and I'm sure your fans and that will really enjoy getting an update, seeing how your story began and things like that.
Brilliant.
We'll go on from there. So you've been listening to the Car Sim and Race Driver Show with me, Hugh Hattrick, and my very special guest, the Key 25. At cardioadvisor.co.uk, we can help you save thousands of pounds on your next new car or van. And we can also source second-hand cars as well. And we can save you money on car rental, whether it be in the UK and abroad. Just click our rental link on the website. And we'll give you a free gift if you trade in your car with We Buy Any Car using our special website link. So go to the website now and see how much you can save. And it's back to the show. Thanks for listening. For more information, go to cardioadvisor.co.uk and you can see all the special offers that we have on the website. And remember, we have our YouTube channel, which is at Hugh Hattrick, and also we have our podcast on Podbean, on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Anchor FM. And if you like what you hear, please like and subscribe to our shows, or you can donate every month for just £1. Thanks for listening, and we'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.